The stage lights burned bright inside HBO's studio, the cameras rolling as Bill Maher leaned back in his chair, smirking the way only Bill Maher could. His panel that night was lively, filled with sharp political voices and celebrities, but the attention was squarely on the fiery Congresswoman from Texas, Jasmine Crockett, known for her sharp wit, her fearless defense of justice, and her ability to cut through political theater. Crockett was no stranger to heated debates. The discussion had started smoothly. They were talking about race, politics, and the direction of the country. Maher, in his usual fashion, tried to inject humor into a tense conversation. But then, as he leaned forward to deliver a joke, his words came out differently than intended, sharper, crueler, tinged with something that wasn't just sarcasm. It was a remark that landed with a thud, a racially insensitive jab that immediately sucked the energy out of the room. The audience, always ready to laugh at Maher's wit, went silent. You could almost hear the air being pulled from the studio. Maher chuckled nervously, looking around as if expecting the panelists to laugh along. But Jasmine Crockett didn't laugh. Her face hardened, her eyes locked on him, steady and unflinching. And for a moment, it felt like time froze. Then she leaned forward, her voice calm, but cutting through the silence like a blade. "Bill," she said, "I want you to understand something. When you use words like that, when you reduce entire communities to the butt of your jokes, you're not just being edgy. You're reinforcing the same poison that has been used to justify injustice in this country for centuries. And I won't sit here, as a black woman, as someone who has fought my entire life for equality, and let you laugh at the expense of people who are already carrying the heaviest burdens." The audience gasped. Maher blinked, visibly caught off guard. He opened his mouth to retort, but Crockett pressed on, her voice rising, not in anger, but in power. "You think it's comedy, but comedy without compassion is cruelty. And cruelty has consequences. It's the consequence of families losing opportunities. It's the consequence of mothers burying sons who never should have been targets. It's the consequence of voters being told, year after year, that their pain is just a punchline. You may not feel the weight of your words, but I do. And millions of people watching do too." The studio, which had been silent moments before, erupted into applause. It wasn't the usual applause for a sharp zinger. It was something deeper. It was a recognition of truth spoken in real time. Maher shifted in his chair, his smirk gone, his hands fidgeting with his notes. "Well," he tried to say, forcing a chuckle, "I was just—" But Crockett raised her hand, stopping him. "You don't get to dismiss it as just a joke," she said firmly, "because for too long, people in your position have used that excuse to avoid accountability. But I'm here to tell you, jokes don't erase pain, and they don't erase responsibility." Another wave of applause crashed through the audience. Some stood, clapping, nodding, cheering her on. Maher sat back, stunned, realizing the conversation had shifted entirely. He wasn't the sharpest voice in the room anymore. Jasmine Crockett was. By the end of the show, the internet was already ablaze. Clips of Crockett's fiery response spread like wildfire. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, every platform carried the moment where she dismantled Maher's smugness with raw truth. Headlines followed. Crockett calls out Maher's racism on live TV. Bill Maher speechless after brutal clapback. But beyond the viral moment, something more meaningful emerged. Veterans of the civil rights movement praised Crockett for her courage. Young activists saw her as proof that you could sit in the lion's den, face disrespect head-on, and emerge stronger. And for viewers who had been hurt by careless jokes and racist humor, Crockett's voice felt like justice. Later that night, Crockett posted a simple message on her social media. "Our words matter. Comedy can unite, but it should never dehumanize. Tonight wasn't about me. It was about reminding America that dignity is not negotiable." It wasn't just a political clapback. It was a lesson delivered live, unscripted, and unforgettable. In the end, Maher wasn't the star of his own show that night. Jasmine Crockett was, and her words echoed far beyond the studio, reminding everyone that sometimes the sharpest weapon isn't a joke, but the truth spoken with courage.